Recently, the Biden administration announced that all federal employees here in the United States must get vaccinated. And if you do not wish to get vaccinated, then you must submit yourself multiple times a week to testing to make sure that you continue to stay COVID negative. And late last week, they released a copy of the form that federal workers have to sign, attesting to whether they are or are not vaccinated. But here's the thing. The way this little form is written indicates that if a federal employee lies about their vaccination status, they could end up being criminally prosecuted. Now, last week, if you'll remember, I talked about that possibility because we have students at college campuses, it's apparently a really big problem up in North Carolina, buying fake vaccination cards to try to skirt their college's vaccination and testing rules. And I mentioned at the time when I talked about that story that these kids, these young adults who buy these fake cards, lie about their vaccination status, if they get somebody infected, I said they should be criminally prosecuted for this. Their negligence and their deception led to the injury of another party. And yes, you could argue that that was, some form of, abuse, perhaps. Whatever it is, somebody who, obviously is an actual lawyer would be able to tell you what you could charge them with, but nevertheless, it is likely you would be able to charge them. And it's no different here. And that's the point of this. It's terrible that we've gotten to this point where we're having to threaten criminal prosecution to people who lie about their vaccination status. And that, again, is an important distinction to make because nobody's being threatened with prosecution for not getting the vaccine. Let's be clear about that. This is not get the vaccine or we're going to prosecute you. This is lie to us about your status, about whether or not you did get the vaccine, and then we might be able to criminally prosecute you. So it is important to make that distinction so that you don't have a bunch of people, especially on the right, trying to say that Democrats want to jail people who are not vaccinated. That is not the case. People who intentionally mislead others, people who intentionally lie about their status in order to gain access to certain places, yeah, if you get somebody sick, you should be held liable for the damage that you cause to that individual. Whether it's in a civil lawsuit or a criminal prosecution, we should be able to hold these people liable when their knowing, willful negligence leads to the harm of others. The justice system is set up pretty specifically to do those kinds of things. So if these individuals lie on their federal forms saying they got the vaccine but they really didn't, I have no problem with the federal government coming and prosecuting these individuals. There's too much at stake at this point. If you don't want to get the vaccine, that's your choice. I personally think it's a bad choice. If you can physically get it and you choose not to, I personally think that's a bad choice. But nevertheless, it's not saying you can't even go to work. You can still go to work. You just got to get tested a couple times a week. You got to go through that discomfort in order to keep people safe. So the choice is yours. Make whichever one you like. But if you lie about it, you should be prosecuted. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for fresh content 7 days a week.